Good evening and welcome to our January Town Council workshop to set our agenda for our February meeting. Before we move into our items for discussion, Jerry, would you do our prayer tonight? And Casey, will you do pledge? You'll stand with us.
Pray with me. Father God, I thank you so much for this day, Lord. Thank you for the blessings that you've given us, Father. Lord, we just, as we've gone through these past several days and the weather that our area has had, Father, I just want to say thank you for those that have been out there every day just to take care of our town, how much we appreciate them and what they've done, Lord. And thank you for I know it's been rough, but just for sparing us for anything very serious, Lord. And Father, we just, we pray as we come tonight that you will just give us clarity on the things that we look at and just keep us mindful of why we're here, Lord. And we just thank you so much, Father. Thank you for your Son who died for us, and I pray also in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Casey.
I couldn't even hear Casey at the microphone.
You know what? So when I used to teach school, if kids would not make eye contact with you when you asked the question, that's the ones you always, and she was almost all the way turned around in her seat, looking down. So if you don't want to be chosen, so. Okay, so we will move into our items for discussion. Council, only 1 through 8 are actual proposed consent agenda items. So our first item is approval of the terms of an authorization for the mayor to execute a contract from Gory Reagan for a 3-year agreement to use the attendance on demand system and to lease time clocks for employee time management. Carl.
Hi, Mayor, Council. Yeah, this is a request. We need to replace our time and attendance system. We're still using the old-fashioned punch time clocks, and it's hard to get parts for them, as well as very inefficient from a staff standpoint to do all the manual calculations and the time cards, put them onto a spreadsheet. So we're asking for a system to be purchased to automate all of that. It'll be coming from the Information Services Department budget, and may have a little contribution from finance for that. But we're asking for this 3-year agreement to take that into, bring this into the town. It'll be a year 1 cost of $46,700 with recurring costs annually of $38,700.
Questions for Carl on this? Dave, I noticed in the write-up, one of the things that was discussed was that we were trying to do it in-house and with the amount of time. I want to make sure that not just with this specific thing, but for other things that we're looking at, that we're making sure we take into account the amount of time it might be taking if we're trying to do it in-house and get something together when there may be a company out there that can do it as efficiently as possible.
Yep.
So, questions on this for Carl? Okay, we'll move on to item 2, which is approval of the terms of an authorization for the mayor to execute an agreement with MaintainX for a work order software for the Public Works Department.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Currently, we are using a work order system called Fix, and it's not one that exactly has been very effective within our department. So what we're looking to do is move our building and grounds, vehicle maintenance, and traffic operations into the MaintainX system. We evaluated several of them and found out MaintainX works best for those guys. Street stormwater, they are going to be moving to C-Click Fix for a work order system.
Questions for Tom on this?
The only question I had, Mayor, is will this software be integrated with their C-Click Fix software? Like if we get a work order into Public Works, or will that be totally separate?
It'll be separate because most of the functions and operations that will use this are more internal. So the traffic operations for the maintenance of the traffic lights, internally facilities maintenance and those sorts of things. So they're more non-public facing operations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything available that would interface, or?
There are some others that do interface, but again, it's something where the work order system from Building and Grounds, we're almost never going to get a C-Click Fix request for something that will go to building and grounds. So there's not really a need to integrate something with C-Click Fix into that work order system.
Other questions? Okay, item 3 is approval of the terms of an authorization for the mayor to execute an application with the Army Corps of Engineers for use of Jefferson Pike for Boat Day on June 6, 2026.
Everybody's favorite day of the year, Boat Day
right.
coming up, so
Right.
we're gonna be asking Army Corps to be able to use Jefferson Springs Park again for another Boat Day, so hope to see you all out there.
And you know what? We don't have any new people that have to wear the costume this year. I think everybody's been here a year.
Well,
Oh, that's right, Chief Goss. I forgot about that. Are you prepared to wear, I think it's a squirrel costume.
I purposely sat behind his bed.
rough.
So we'll get you signed up for that and make sure that it fits and is clean for the
Ish, yeah.
event.
If he declares that Cameron has to do it, is that okay?
No, I think it has to be him. I
Okay.
think it has to be him, so. Okay, item 4 is approval of the terms of an authorization for the mayor to execute the First Amendment lease agreement for the Senior Activity Center. Jeff, do you want to have some discussion?
So, obviously, it kind of speaks there on the thing, but for the public, this allows for, it doesn't really change the agreement that we already have for a lease with the senior center, but in order for them to receive some outside funds, the 25 plus 25-year lease is changed to basically just a 50-year lease where it's, the town does not cancel it, which I don't think that we would have anyway, but they needed that reworded so that they could apply for some grant funding, some substantial amounts from Christie Houston.
Curious about the decimal place on it, 1.006.
I'll have to look it up here.
Oh, the annual rent.
Where's that at? What's it under?
If it was just the,
It's
rather
on the
than
agenda item.
$1, we got
So it just says the annual rent is basically $1 and
Under key
600
terms.
something.
1,000,
Yes.
yeah.
not
Under-
even a whole cent.
It's under key terms on the,
Probably a typo.
on the, yeah, on the agenda item page.
Oh, on the agenda item page?
Yes,
Okay,
just
not
on the
lease.
agenda item
Okay.
page.
All right. Now, look, sometimes when we transfer it over, it may not go.
Anyway, that's just,
So can we just change that on the agenda item page for,
We
thank
will
you.
make note and take care of it.
Perfect. Any questions on this?
Yes, I still have a question too.
Okay,
It talks about that they have to have started on it within 36 months. And 36 months will be, well, it'll be about a year from right now.
Yes. Of course, that is just, is not, it doesn't automatically click into, okay, now it's over. That's for the town to exercise. And so that was put in place to begin with.
Would
Just-
have no bearing on the contribution.
Yeah, just to show that they were gonna have some type of,
Yeah.
of progress.
And Councilman Cole, I'm glad you brought that up, because that was a concern of the senior center folks. And so I assured them that we would not exercise that, and I think this is a good place to verbalize that for them, as long as the council concurs with that. It seems as though they've made substantial progress, especially with their fundraising, and obviously with the actions that we're presenting to you tonight for our next council meeting. So that was a concern of theirs. We have that right to not exercise that, and I would not intend to, of course, again, with the council's consent.
If I was them, I'd ask you to extend it.
But they have.
They did.
Yeah. Yeah, they asked us to bring that up this evening, so I said that, and Jeff said we didn't need to enter anything into an agenda item or amend the lease or anything to that extent, but just to verbalize it here would be sufficient.
If we send them written notification, I think that's fine. But if you want us to add it in there, we can.
Where would you take it to?
they wanted 4.
rather than 3.
48.
No,
want
they
that-
wanted, they wanted from 3 years to 4 years.
48 months, yeah.
Yes.
Why not?
Why wouldn't we change it if we're not gonna exercise it?
Well, just the minimum that this council put in there, so a few years ago, so that's just why.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
We
if
can
they're-
change it, I mean.
If they're asking us and we're not really, we don't really care, then why don't we just change it? Give them that comfort.
So do we need to change it from an amendment to adding that into it and then also changing it from 3 to 4?
Well, we'll just make an amendment, and it'll be fixed, but council meeting. Everybody agree with that?
Okay, we'll move on to item 5, which is approval of the terms of an authorization for the mayor to execute a contract extension with Benchmark LLC for locating services for gas, water, and sewer. Mike?
Yes, ma'am. So Benchmark currently does our locating. We have 2 approved positions in the budget for locators that we've had posted since August of '25 that we're unable to fill at this time. We've had 102 candidates and 94 have been rejected, most for lack of experience at all. Some we had applications from people that worked for current locating companies. They either didn't show up for the interview, declined, so we're going to have to extend this with Benchmark for another year. This will kind of eclipse the first year mark by a little bit, but I've already talked to them. They'll cover the locates just like they're doing. It is required by Tennessee law that we have locates, so we're going to have to extend this for another year.
So initially, help me remember, we initially were doing it ourselves, came and asked for us to look at a company because of the amount of time we were having to,
Yeah.
and then we decided that was going to be more economical for us. And then we decided we were going to go back to.
We were going to go back, but we hadn't been able to hire anybody. Quite frankly, we'll look at trying to repost or do something different on the post, but we're Randall and Johnny with gas and water sewer maintenance are the main ones that are affected by that. They've called and talked to umpteen, million people and we just can't, nobody internally has applied. There's a lot of responsibility with locating. And if you miss locates and stuff like that, you get turned over to the damage prevention board. It's not as easy as it was in the old days, and there's a lot of stuff in the ground, so.
So the only comment I've got is just the difference in cost, $475,000 contract, because we can't find somebody. Obviously, that's probably the cost of 2 or 3 people. I guess if there's a liability that we're also getting by paying for this, that's a different conversation. But that, I don't know, my initial thought is if we've had 100 applicants and none of them met our requirements, maybe our requirements are too steep. Especially, or offer them $475,000 and see if you get more applicants, right?
So there's a couple of things. They do accept the liability. So if they mislocates, it's on them, not on the town. The other thing is the applicants that we had 0 qualifications. It's not that the qualifications are steep. You got people calling from everywhere, hey, I'd like to be a locator, and they've never located in their life. It's been a difficult situation on this one, so, and the 475, there is no increase to extend their contract. They did not put a cost escalator in there, so that's the same that we've paid this year.
Yeah.
I'm gonna apply tomorrow. 475. I got an uncle who used to do it with a stick, so maybe we can get him to do it.
We do want to take a look at the position a little bit closer as we're going through our pay and compensation right now. So we'll take a look at the position, see if we have it graded correctly, if the salary range is correct, and if we need to make adjustments for that, we will. I think if we did even, obviously, we're still above what the contract amount would be, but it's just hard to find people for this.
Do we know?
It's just a giant difference, right? We don't usually see that big of a difference, one person or 2 people versus a $100,000, $150,000 contract. But for them to charge us $475 for something we think one person can handle, it just seems like a big difference.
It'd be 2.
Okay.
But it wouldn't, I mean, there's an offset. We would definitely save money if we could hire people, you know, that were qualified and do it. There's no question.
We might get 10 new applicants tomorrow after this conversation.
Yeah.
Are other communities doing it themselves, or they,
Some do it themselves, some have companies do it.
okay,
It's kind of a mixed bag.
okay. Okay, we will put that on the agenda and move on to item 6, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an agreement with ARIA Filtra System Support relative to the 24/7 technical phone support for water treatment plant.
Yes, ma'am. This is the annual technical support for the membrane filtration system. Not only they do technical support, but they can actually remotely log into the system and troubleshoot and change settings and stuff like that if we need to. So this is something we do every year with them.
Questions on this? Okay, then we will move on to item 7, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an agreement with StarPoint Imaging Services to digitize the official records of the town clerk, court clerk, and human resources department. Amber?
Yes, ma'am. So I actually have 2 items, the next 2, this one and the next one on your agenda kind of correlate with each other. I have been meeting with HR department and also the court clerk's office, and I included some spreadsheets on your attachment so you can kind of see how paper heavy we are in some of our departments. We really don't have a process to keep those safe in a disaster or any type of, if something was to happen to this building. So since Mr. Santucci started, I kind of had a list of things that I wanted to do, and last year we were able to implement some of these softwares that are front-facing and really good for the public, and those have been great. But I think our next priority is to get some of these records digitized. And there are statutes now that allow for us to operate with an official digital record for a municipality. So that's what these items would be for. The StarPoint Imaging Services, thankful to Beth and Sear with the finance department. They were able to help us work with these 2 entities through co-ops and government contracts as well to negotiate these services. And StarPoint came on site, and they looked at each of our department's records in person and kind of analyzed the amount of records that were in each department and came up with this quote. Everybody seemed to be pretty happy with the quote from a department head standpoint. I know that the court clerk had communicated to me that she'd gotten one quote that was just for her department that was more than all 3 of these combined. So we are pleased with the communications that we've had with StarPoint so far, and would ask that we be approved to go forward with this service for the HR department, for the town clerk records and the court clerk records.
Questions on this?
The only question I got is, when, you know, those are sensitive documents, and I'm sure they have ways of securing those documents, and that we'll have the paper copies secured until the whole project's completed and we get the digital files on it. I'm just worrying about security and losing
Sure.
the paper documents until we get the final product.
Sure, and I spoke to our representative at length on how this process would take place if this is approved. And essentially what they do is they'll schedule a time with each of us to come in at one time, and they'll bring a team in and remove all of the records from site. But they box those records up, they barcode each one of those with the contents of what's in each box. And yes, they store them in a secure location. And we will have access to the records throughout the whole digitization process.
Okay.
If I need a record that they have in their possession, I can email them. I'll have a direct email, as will the HR department and the court clerk. And we can tell them, we need this record. They'll be able to locate that record, and they'll scan it to us within a half an hour.
Sure.
They did communicate to me that he didn't want to make promises on a time frame, but he said, give or take, he thought that he could get this done in about 90 days.
Oh,
They're
wow.
going to start with the human resources department first, due to the sensitivity of those documents, personnel files. And then they'll move on to court clerk and then my town clerk records. And I also spoke with Lisa Brewer, our court clerk, and she is advised that hers are archived records only that have a lifetime retention on them, so they don't access them all the time. So that's why we wanted to start with HR first
Sure.
and then move to these other departments. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Where are the digital copies going to be stored?
So when they deliver those to us, they will deliver them on an external encrypted hard drive, which will be in our possession. And then they will actually, they're going to hold on to the digital copy as well because they actually integrate with the next item on your agenda, which is the Laserfish software.
Okay.
And that will be the document management and kind of the enterprise content software that will eventually house the documents. So when we get Laserfish set up, if you guys approve us to go forward with that as well, they will actually send all of that data into Laserfish for us to be housed.
So we won't be storing any future documents, right? This carries forward, not just for what we have on file now.
Yes, sir. So my hope is for my department, and I can't speak for Mr. Craig or Court Clerk Brewer, but my hope is to move towards just a digital record from here. I've already started since I took this position, kind of maintaining a digital record for myself, and I have those ready to move into this system. Right now, they're just in our Google Drive. But once I get all of these records, they won't come back to me. They'll hold on to them for up to 6 months just to allow us to kind of make sure that everything's there, and then they will properly dispose of those records. So this will become our official record. I've also worked with Carl and IT to vet this software as well that I'm asking for you all to approve, and he's worked with them and other municipalities and says it's a very robust system, so.
So for open record requests and things like that, it's just pretty much instant.
Correct.
You're not copying 300 pages of something to give to somebody in the public or whatever, so.
Correct. And another perk to this as well is Laserfish integrates with my Next Request Open Records Management software, so.
Dave, how much room do you think this is gonna free up of not having to have documents stored? I know like at Lisa's place, they're everywhere. You know what I mean? She is busting at the seams because of having to keep all of that.
Yeah, it's certainly going to free up space from a storage perspective. And of course, as we continue down the road, it's just going to get worse if we don't do this. I don't think I could put a number on like square footage or anything like that, but we're talking storage rooms that now become available. And I've seen, I've seen the records over there at the courts, and it's pretty astronomical. So, but you know, just from even the document storage side is one thing, but the document management is really where you get your bang for your buck
Yep.
on this. Not only from the public records perspective, but the document retrieval internally, and the security features that come with the software as well. So.
Okay. Okay, Amber already kind of referred to item 8, but it's approval of the terms of an authorization for the mayor to execute an agreement with MCCI for Laserfish Enterprise Content Management Software for the town clerk, court clerk, and human resources department's records. Anything else you want to add?
Just the capabilities of this is not just an electronic filing cabinet. It's going to have document or text recognition. It's got some AI capabilities in there that will, pick up on key terms and things like that. We'll be able to set retention schedules on documents. I know that some of the documents that I've inherited from predecessors, they're just sitting in a filing cabinet and there's no real retention that's been assigned to those. So if it's a contractual document, technically we're supposed to be able to dispose of that 7 years from the time that the contract has been completed. Some of those I still have, and that's stuff that I'm going to have to sort through, but the hope is moving forward that some of these records, as we're putting them in, that we can set retentions on those automatically.
The only thing I would like to add or just point out really for the council is there's reoccurring annual support. It's obviously, it's gonna be based on some sort of consumption. We may not hit the next level for years, but as this continues and as that data grows, especially the court clerks who keeps forever, then there is the potential that this will cost more in future years. Now, not significantly more, but incremental more cost as we get bigger.
And who goes in and deletes once they've been the amount of time that we've had to keep?
So the system,
Should
if
be
we set a
automated. It will.
retention schedule on it,
Okay.
the system will take care of that per the
Okay.
retention itself.
How long are we required to keep files? Do you know?
Everything is different. There's a whole retention schedule that we've adopted through MTAS, that for every type of document, it's different. So like codes and planning could be 7 years, but some of my records are lifetime.
So when they're uploaded onto that, is that put on there so it knows when it can be deleted?
It will have to be set by the employee in that department or
Okay.
whoever's putting those records in, but yes.
Usually classify the document, and a specific classification has an associated retention policy. So if you say this is a contract, well, that's 7 years past the last date,
Right.
right? So you don't really have to know, oh, I gotta delete this on this date. It's
Gotcha.
more of this type of
Falls in that
document only has
category.
to stay this long.
Yep. Okay. Item 9 is consideration of an ordinance amending the Smyrna Municipal Code Title 12 relative to the adoption of the 2024 Uniform Building Codes. Hey, Christy.
Hi. This ordinance will be for the official adoption of the 24 uniform building codes from the International Code Council. We've been working on this project for about 9 months now in conjunction with the building officials from Laverne, Murfreesboro, Rutherford County, and Eagleville. Also, we have been working with our fire department, our utilities department, and stormwater. We have consulted with the Tennessee Home Builders Association on these changes and discussed several of their concerns. I think that we're pretty good with them also. And the code staff, my code staff is prepared. We have the books, we've been studying up on it, and we're ready to implement if y'all approve this. Also, on January 14th of this year, we had an event over at the Event Center with several developers and contractors and presented a little class to them about the significant changes. We got a lot of good feedback, positive feedback from them regarding this change. We will be implementing this. Murfreesboro is also implementing this. They may be a little bit behind us. I think Rutherford County is on task to get this implemented. I have not talked with Joe specifically what his date is. We had kind of agreed that everyone would kind of shoot for April the 1st, so that the whole Rutherford County would be going up to the new codes at the same time.
So the 7 years starts when we adopt it, is that correct? Or does it start when 2024?
It starts when, it's when the codes are adopted by the state, which they are on for residential under 2018 codes, which we are coming off of. And we'll be going up to the 24. So as long as we're within 7 years of what the state of Tennessee is, we're good.
I have one question. The last time we, I think, adopted 2018, there was a lot of requirements of utilities. Is there, as far as upgrading the water lines for fire flows, is there anything major like that in this code?
There will be, yeah. We're, specifically, we're adopting a 1-inch water line from the house to the
Service line.
Yeah, we're gonna start doing that. We already have the pull down, so there's several minor changes. I don't think there were any big concerns from.
And then the other
It says
question.
water lines had to be a foot deep.
No,
12
well,
inches.
they are a foot deep.
Sewer.
The sewer line, they are buried a foot deep, but the actual size of them has, in the past, been 3/4 of an inch. We're going up to 1 inch because there's so many issues with water lines.
And the pull down, access, we already implemented that? I couldn't
Yeah.
remember.
We did that, this last year, I believe. If there's mechanical equipment, it has to be accessible either through a walkout or pull down or permanent ladders.
And then, like, say someone's designing a project and then all of a sudden we adopt that 2024 code. How does that transition period work?
It's based on when you obtain your permit. So we are doing plan reviews now for projects that probably will not be getting their permits until after April the 1st, when I hope to implement this. So on those, there will be maybe a little maneuvering or whatever. There's not a whole
A
lot of
grace
difference.
period, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, we'll definitely, but I'm already looking at the plans commercially.
Yeah.
Already for the
Okay.
24 codes, so.
She talks about that a little bit in the presentation on page 1. If you go look, it talks about permits on this date, by this time, et cetera.
Other questions? Okay. Then we will look at item 10, which is consideration of an ordinance relative to a budget amendment for fiscal year 2026, and this is a second reading. Hey, Sierra.
Good evening. These are the regular mid-year budget amendments. The bulk of these amendments are funding the purchase of police vehicles and the completion of an FY25 fiber network expansion project. Just like the original budget, it's got to be balanced. All the budget amendments have to be balanced. So the offsetting entries to these increases in expenses are decreases to expenses, mostly relating from reduction in expected retirement matching and increases to revenue from the extension of our banking service contract.
Questions for Sierra? We've gone over this a couple of times. Okay, seeing none, we'll put that on the agenda and move on to item 11, which is consideration of an ordinance amending the Smyrna Municipal Code Title 5, Chapter 2, relative to the privilege and business taxes. This is a second reading. Are you? I thought Gary was going to do it. I thought he was looking like he was coming up to the mic.
So, Ben worked with Treasury quite a lot on this, and so basically there wasn't anything in place to add a late fee for these they call them minimal business licenses, and so they've increased almost threefold. From 22, there are 128 accounts, and 25, there are 600. So obviously, there's some administrative costs when they start having to locate folks, send out letters, those types of things. Hey, you need to come back in and pay your fee. And so after due diligence and speaking with Secretary of State and the Comptroller's Office, this is what Ben came up with. It just allows us to apply a late fee.
And Ben gave us quite a long presentation on this to explain it. So are there any questions for Jeff? Okay. Item 12 is consideration of an ordinance amending the 2025-2026 fiscal year fee schedule to add a late penalty for delinquent business privilege taxes. This is also a second reading. So this is just amending the fee schedule to do what we're talking about in item 11. Are there any questions on that?
When's the implementation date?
See one on the ordinance. Usually, we have it immediately after the ordinance.
Okay.
Jeff, while you're looking that up, I'll continue on. Are you good with that?
Sure.
Okay. Item 13 is consideration of a resolution relative to a plan of services for property located on tax map 35, part of parcel 81.04. Hey, Kevin.
Mr. Mayor and Council, this is a, excuse me, plan of services that puts into place the services the town would be providing for the annexation, which is the next item on your agenda. The town would be providing all services to this property. The Planning Commission did hold a public hearing and reviewed this and did recommend approval, and staff would also recommend approval.
Questions for the plan of services on this? Okay, we'll move on to item 14, which is consideration of an ordinance relative to the annexation and PID zoning of property on tax map 35, part of parcel 81.04, requested by Sunny Patel, containing 3.54 acres. The property is located at 8216 Florence Road, and this is a second reading. Kevin?
This is the annexation request on Florence Road. It's directly across from Lisa Lane. Land use plan would support medium-density residential in this area. Surrounding zoning is C2 in town and RM in Rutherford County. Town, as I said earlier, would be providing all services. There is an existing single-family house on this property. This proposal would allow for 35,400 square feet of conventional self-storage and covered outdoor storage in 9 buildings. The existing house on, excuse me, on the property is to be converted to an office for the storage business, as well as some additional rental spaces within that structure. For the buildings, about 13,700 square feet would be conventional self-storage. Remaining 5, which is 21,700 square feet, would be covered storage for boats and RVs, things of that nature. The property is bordered on the west and north by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers property and a vacant privately owned wooded tract to the east. As a part of the review, the Planning Commission did require that the developer preserve 20 feet of the existing vegetation along that eastern property line where feasible. And at any location where it's not feasible or it doesn't exist, a type D buffer would be required to be constructed. Access to the development would be through the C2 zoned area, which is also part of this overall parcel, same parcel. It's developed with a convenience store, gas station, and other businesses there. The majority of this tract does lie within the 500-year floodplain, but this has no additional regulatory requirements for the property. The Planning Commission did review this, did recommend approval. Nothing has changed since you looked at it on first reading.
Questions on the storage units on Florence?
I have one. And I guess this is Mark, Steve, or I don't care who. It just looks like it's a tight throat going into that from the store. And it's right outside of the main entrance to the store there too. Could they not have put another entranceway down on the map there all the way to the right?
Isn't that where the detention pond is?
I think some of that area is a detention. I think, I know there is a detention in that top left corner as well.
When you say the right, you mean this end of this, what are you talking
No,
about?
where the
South
big
end?
green spot is.
Oh, over there?
Yeah, kind of south of where the existing house is that they're going to convert. Some of the parking they're showing to be added. I mean, that might be something we go look at. I think there is a detention area or something in that area. There was something there. I can't recall exactly. But we could certainly look. I mean, that would be, have a second way in and out to that northern, to
You know,
that
it
developed
just looks
area.
like that's going to be such a congested area in trying to get in there. Somebody get run over or place for wrecks to happen. You know, storage buildings, very often, you know, you're taking a big truck in there. And so you gotta take a big, you know, U-Haul truck, let's just say, and you gotta take it into that spot and then make that little turn right there.
Yeah, and that's one thing, when we looked at it, we did ask them, and they did widen the area kind of in between each building, because there was, their initial plan, it was very, even much tighter than this as you go into the site. The fire department couldn't maneuver it, so that we did, they did widen those drive aisles to accommodate the fire department, and they were, with the revision, they were okay with the changes there. Also to accommodate a U-Haul truck, or if you're going to park a large RV there, you gotta drive it in there as well, you know, things of that nature too, because some of those are covered storage, so.
Just my 2 cents worth.
Anything else? Okay, item 15 is our housekeeping item for annexation, consideration of a resolution and memorandum of ordinance 26-7 relative to the annexation and PID zoning of property on tax map 35, part of parcel 81.04. Item 16 is consideration of an ordinance relative to the amendment of the existing PRD of the property located on tax map 55, parcel 31.00, owned by Charter Commercial LLC, containing 25 acres. This request is from M2 Group on behalf of the property owners and is located at the end of Antique Avenue, and this is the second reading. Kevin?
Yeah, this is a request to amend the PRD known as Derby Run. This does, the portion of the property does abut Antique Avenue. It's an existing county road. The land use plan would support medium-density, single-family residential in this area. Surrounding zoning is the Amberton and Cedar Hills PRD in town and RM in Rutherford County. The existing PRD for Derby Run was approved in August 2019 for up to 204 single-family homes on 68.66 acres. It was amended in July 2020 to reduce the number of lots to 202 and amended the road layout. The original PRD did require the houses to be at least 1,600 square feet, to be constructed of brick, stone, and fiber cement siding. The amended PRD, as approved, does provide 29.35 acres of total open space with 4.75 acres of improved open space. This requested amendment would add 4 houses, so it would be a total of 206. These would be accessed via an extension of Antique Avenue, which is an existing county road. The lots would range in size from 0.6 of an acre to 1.85 acres. Total open space remaining would be 21.2 acres with still the remaining same 4.75 acres of improved space. This is in excess of the requirement of 10.3 acres of open space and 3.09 acres of improved space. A 20-foot buffer is shown for the property boundaries which abut the county zoning, which is consistent with the new PRD requirements. The Planning Commission did review this to recommend approval, and I did reach out to the county, and they are well aware of this. The developer and their engineer has contacted them. They're coordinating the extension of that road, and they're aware of it, so.
Question, Jerome, I think that was your question, was that about the road with the county?
Right, and
Other
also
questions?
setting a precedence for the future of
Yeah.
PRDs that's been approved, and then they come back to be amended, but they were originally approved on a certain amount of density. Of course, these are large lots, like Kevin said, from 0.6 to 1.85. I don't have an issue with that. I just don't, want us to set a precedence.
I don't
Yeah,
disagree with that.
I agree with you. I mean, I think the biggest thing on this one is, when we originally approved it, we were based on a certain amount of open space. And obviously now they're taking some of that open space away. They still meet the requirements.
They're taking
I get that.
a
but
little bit
still,
over 8
we-
acres.
We were,
yeah.
we initially approved it expecting a larger number. So we just have to keep an eye on that too.
Yeah. Okay, other questions? Okay, we will put that on the agenda and move on to item 17, which is consideration of an ordinance amending the text of the Smyrna Municipal Zoning Ordinance, Article 4, Section 4.010.4A, Article 5, Section 5.052.2, and 5.052.7, and adding Article 7, Section 7.061.21 regarding a climate-controlled storage facility requirements in the C2 and C5 districts, and this is a second reading. Kevin?
Yeah, this is something that the Planning Commission and Council talked about a couple of different times at our joint meetings. And this would add climate controlled storage as a use allowed via special exception review by the Board of Zoning Appeals in the C2 and C5 districts. And so it would just basically amend, there's several different sections of the ordinance that are being amended here, but essentially it's just to add that it is a BZA review in those two districts. And then adding, in Article 7, those are the conditions that they would have to meet as a part of that review by the Board of Zoning Appeals. And then we did the Article 4 change. That is just to add a parking requirement for this type of development, which we didn't have one currently. So the Planning Commission, the Planning Commission did review this and did recommend approval. And staff would also recommend approval. Again, nothing's changed on it since you looked at it on first reading.
Okay, then we'll move on to item 18, which is consideration of an ordinance amending the text of the Smyrna Municipal Zoning Ordinance, Article 2, Section 2.020 regarding solid waste services, and this is a second reading. Kevin?
Yeah, this is something that we brought forward as staff because this is something that our currently the zoning ordinances doesn't address in any way. Solid waste services such as storage of roll-off dumpsters or a trash hauling business are not really addressed. And so this would, we had an issue, business was trying to open up on a C2 zone lot, had no approvals of any kind or anything, they just were trying to open up. And then didn't really believe that was an appropriate place for this type of business, but there really wasn't anything in our ordinance to really hang our hat on to prevent it. And also, it just didn't provide any clarity to that owner or any other future developer to what they wanted, or something like this could be. And so these amendments would define solid waste services, place them in the activity type of warehousing, goods transport, and storage, which would have the effect of allowing this use in I-1, I-2, I-3, and A1. It does need to be pointed out that this is only the storage, of trucks, containers, and equipment used in the solid waste industry. It would not be for a landfill or anything like that. The Planning Commission did review this, did recommend approval. We did reach out to the airport authority, talked with Evan Lester. He felt, he wasn't worried about it. He said this is something, we own all the property there is in that zone anyway. So if we're allowed in that zone, it would mean we were signing a lease with someone to do that. And so he did not have any concerns after I talked with him about it. So
We meaning the airport authority, not we meaning the town of Smyrna.
that's correct.
Yes.
Yes.
Other questions? Okay, then we will put that on the agenda. And item 19 is consideration of an ordinance amending the text of the Smyrna Municipal Zoning Ordinance, Article 4, Section 4.030F regarding temporary use regulations for outdoor sales of food or retail merchandise, and this is a second reading.
Yeah, this is another item that comes as a fruit of the joint meetings with the Planning Commission and Council. These are just to modify some of the regulations placed on transient vendors. There's also a disconnect between the zoning ordinance and municipal code, so that would be rectified with this so that those are consistent. The amendment would create a better definition of merchandise to mean any consumer item that is presented to be new or used, and also removes the stipulation that these vendors shall be reviewed by the BZA. And better aligning the zoning ordinance with the municipal code, text has been added to the zoning ordinance clarifying any vendor shall obtain a transient vendor permit prior to conducting sales. And a separate permit will be required to be obtained by the property owner from which sales are to be conducted by a transient vendor. And the owners or on-site employee may be cited for failure to comply with any zoning ordinance or municipal code requirements. This amendment would not affect mobile food vendors. These would have a separate regulations already, and nonprofit entities, events conducted on town-owned property and private events with no sales to the general public also are exempt from those requirements. The Planning Commission did review this, did recommend approval, and again, nothing has changed since we looked at it on first reading.
We had quite a bit of discussion in our joint meeting and then also at our, when this came through on first reading. Are there any additional questions or comments? Okay, then we will put that on the agenda and move on to item 19, which is consideration of an ordinance amending the text of the Smyrna Municipal Zoning Ordinance, Article 2, Section 2.020, and adding Article 4, Section 4.030.H regarding yard sales, and this is a second reading. Kevin?
Yeah, this is something that, again, kind of part of the joint meetings that we held. Currently, the zoning ordinance doesn't have a definition of a yard sale nor provisions for conducting those. And so we brought this forward to kind of bring some clarity to the ordinance and for everyone. These amendments would create a definition of what a yard sale would be, anything garage sales, tag sales, whatever you would call it, or any temporary sale of personal property. Reselling products is a prohibited activity. Article 4, Section 4.030H would create specific provisions applicable to yard sales. These provisions restrict yard sales to a maximum of 4 events per address per year, cannot exceed 3 consecutive days or 2 consecutive weekends, and no permits would be required. So we're not asking you to get a permit for a yard sale, just that you would be no more than 4 times a year and no more than 3 days at a time or 2 weekends at a time. The Planning Commission did review this, did recommend approval. Again, nothing has changed on this since we looked at it on first reading. Been a lot of discussion about this since we all passed this on first reading, so I did want to bring forward kind of what some of the surrounding communities around us do. We looked at Murfreesboro, Nolensville, Franklin, and Rutherford County. All of them also restrict yard sales to 4 times per year. Some of them do require a permit, like a $5 permit or whatever. We're not saying that at all. We're not recommending that to you. Rutherford County further restricts it to no more than 3 days in any 90-day period. So there's even more than not just the 4 times per year. So, so this is not anything that's unusual for our community. And so this is really just to allow, again, people to conduct yard sales and what most people would normally do. We've had several that are not conducting yard sales or really out of their home conducting retail businesses. So, and calling it a yard sale. And so this is to address those few situations. We have multiple complaints from some of those neighbors to some of those homes where these are being conducted. So that's why we brought it forward to the joint meeting and then brought it to you at your first reading last month. So again, nothing's changed on this since first reading.
Questions for Kevin on this?
Kevin, right here in the middle of the summary, it says reselling products is a prohibited activity.
Yeah, and that's basically where we've had several times we've had people that are, they're buying products, Amazon pallets or whatever, and just reselling. They're not really selling their personal property. They're selling, you know, property they got at a good deal somewhere and reselling it. And it's, you know, laundry detergent or toothpaste or things of that nature, not their kids' clothes that they've outgrown, you know, that kind of thing.
That'd be Todd's job to police that.
Sure.
Okay, other questions?
Okay, we are now to our public comment period, and the town's public comment period shall be reserved for those citizens that have signed up to address the town council or a board or committee at least 24 hours in advance of the meeting. Pursuant to the town's public comment policy, speakers are limited to 3 minutes, and additional comments may be submitted in writing. Amber, I did not see any public comments for tonight, is that correct?
I forgot to give you your list. I'm just kidding.
Okay,
There's
I was
none
gonna
for
say, I didn't
tonight.
see any. Okay. Cameron, anything? Chief, anything? Charles, last call?
Mayor and council, just want to thank you for the opportunity for the last 6 years to work on road projects within my community and our community. So really appreciate that opportunity and look forward to what comes up next. Chris has got quite a list for me, ready to go.
Well, Charles will be retiring as of tomorrow.
Yes.
And so I just want to say thank you. You have gotten a lot done in the last 6 years, and we appreciate everything that you've done, and we're going to miss you.
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate everything we've done. Thank you.
Charles, you're my neighbor, I know, so I expect you to keep the neighborhood roads and everything in good shape even after retirement.
Hey, I was out there on Sunday cleaning the storm drain so the roads could drain
I
better.
want
So
to
I
say
was
the
out there
same thing.
working.
I appreciate the job that you've done for the town. You've always stood there in good times and bad times when the heat is on you. You've always just high-character guy, and I just appreciate the job that you've done.
Oh,
You've done a
thank you. I
wonderful job.
appreciate all the support that y'all have given me to focus on road projects and give me the means to get them done.
Okay. Carl? Jeffrey? Mike? Casey? Tom? Kevin? Christie? Mike? Heather? Chief?
Save it.
Look at all those people behind you and see what they say.
Chief, you just want to maybe mention the delivery date that for our armor vehicle?
Yeah, so hopefully we will have the armored vehicle.
That's right. That's right.
So we received an email last night that hopefully the armored vehicle will be shipped out this Friday or possibly Monday due to the weather delays. But hopefully by the middle of next week, we will have that. And I just want to say thank you all for making this happen for the police department. It's something I know that Captain Gibson and others have been asking for a long time. And I appreciate you guys seeing it through along with Dave, making this happen and allowing us to get this piece of equipment that I think is very vital and important, not only for the department, but for the citizens of this town. So I appreciate that.
Great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Amber? Dave?
Just a few slides tonight. Oh, Charles King is retiring. So Charles.
We stole your thunder,
He
sorry.
did, but I guess in this situation, he's allowed to. But let me just say, Charles, you know, for as long as I've been here, isn't that long, you have conducted yourself with professionalism at all times, and you've always looked out for the best interest of Smyrna, and for that, I thank you. I thank you for the things that you have taught me, brought me up to speed on, and I wish you the best in your retirement. We had a fun couple of days here in Middle Tennessee, and I want to take a few minutes to update everyone on how the town responded during the recent winter storm, because it really was a strong example of preparation, teamwork, execution, and dedication across our entire organization. Our public works crews were out around the clock through the storm, They came into the shop at about 3 a.m. on Saturday morning. They deployed 7 plows and salt trucks, 4 graders. Over the past 4 days, they treated more than 2,600 miles of roadway and applied over 350 tons of salt to help keep these roads as safe as possible for our residents. Beyond the roads, town crews responded quickly to storm-related hazards. They removed over 100 fallen trees and limbs and addressed 20 down or impacted utility lines, helping prevent additional disruptions and keeping the community safe. Our Emergency Operations Center stayed fully engaged during this event, handling 141 emergency calls and nearly 400 total dispatch calls, including responses from police, fire, and utilities. Coordination between Smyrna and Rutherford County EMA ensured residents received timely assistance when conditions were at their worst. Clear communication was always a priority during this time. Our Public Information Officer, Heather Kent, provided more than 30 updates across social media platforms and to our website, sharing real-time information, safety reminders, and service updates before, during, and after the storm to help residents stay informed. Overall, this response reflects the town of Smyrna's commitment to preparedness, collaboration, and taking care of our community. I'm very, very proud of our employees and grateful to our community partners who assisted during this event. Additionally, I want to thank TWRA for providing manpower to address this winter storm. We got a call and they offered their assistance, so we had 6 TWRA personnel from East, Middle, and West Tennessee help us out with the cleanup. Just an update on what we're doing at this time. We continue to clear debris from our right-of-way. All the roadways at this point should be clear, but we do have a lot of pickup to do. Last time I checked, we had about probably 30 of locations out of 56 that had been cleared. We started on the west side of our community where we were most impacted, and now we'll be able to work our way into town. After the recent winter storm and using over 300 tons of salt, we're beginning to see these potholes develop across the town. Our streets department has already started repairing those and will continue to address these issues as they arrive. Our first priority really was making sure that the roadways were safe and we're clearing the debris from them. Residents are encouraged to report potholes, and you can find more information by visiting the town's website on our status. Brush collection, residential brush collection is temporarily suspended while we use these resources to focus on clearing the debris from our roadways. And as residents clean up, we ask that brush be placed according to our town guidelines, which are also available on our website, so services can resume safely and efficiently. I really want to just stop reading this and just say that over this weekend, and from these pictures that you can see, I got to tell you that our staff was completely engaged in the whole time. I think there were times where we had to tell them to stop because they would have just kept going and going. And from our streets crews to our traffic folks in PD, utilities, parks, did and continue to do just a tremendous job. What I'm most proud of is the collaborative nature in which we all worked. And it was all hands on deck and everybody helped each other. And I just want to sincerely thank the staff for the great work that they have done. Really, I know that your coordination and more importantly, the boots on the ground really are the champions of this event. And I want to thank you all for that. Appreciate it.
I think we all echo that as well. I mean, you all, Dave, I know you and I had a call on the Sunday before, the week before the storm, and your total focus was coordination of all departments. When you flip back, can you flip back one screen for me? Sorry, you think about some cities or towns that have hundreds of employees that they're able to put out. This is what took care of us.
And you think about all of those days, 24 hours a day, that they've been out working. So, Dave, you were the leader of this and making sure that it was coordinated. And I can't say enough to you, but to all the department heads, to those that were in the field, thank you seems so little, but we were able to stay home. Most of us in the town of Smyrna were able to keep on our electricity and our heat, and you all were out making sure we stayed safe. So, Dave, thank you to you, to admin, and to everybody who pitched in. We appreciate that. There are still those that are out there struggling in other adjoining counties. I think I heard Laverne still has 600 or 800 without electricity still. So remember those, they're still out there that are having a hard time right now. So please make sure you let your staff know how much we appreciate what they've done.
You know, Mayor, we take so much for granted, don't we?
Yep.
I mean, we go through a storm like this, and then you realize every day I've got power in my home, or every day I've got food in the cabinet, and then you have a storm like this, and sometimes it makes you realize what could be, what could happen in a case like this. And so that team of people, you've all acknowledged them, and I want to do the same thing while we're talking about it. Dave, Heather, you guys both did a great job getting the news out there. Dave, you kept us informed probably more than anybody has ever kept us probably in the past informed about an incident like this. We were always abreast of what was going on out there. I appreciate that. And all the staff and all the people that part of this, I know we all had a big meeting on Friday in preparation for this. And Middle Tennessee Electric has done a wonderful job. Chris Jones and his staff over there did a wonderful job as well. I know they're still dealing with power outages, but I didn't hear about Smyrna having any more than maybe 10. So if that happened, I don't know the exact numbers, but that's kind of what I'd heard early on. Maybe that grew, but these guys right here, there's a couple negative Nellies always, you know, come get my road clear or whatever it is, but these guys right here worked their tails off. And like you said, Dave, they didn't want to stop. They wanted to keep on going. They were worried about those people, even the ones that were negative about their roads being iced. But we had a major storm here, and it's like none other for a long, long time. And to have this crew do the job that they did is phenomenal. So thank you all. Thank you all, every department that did your job. We appreciate it.
Okay, Jeffrey L.
Councilman Cole, to answer your question on the late fee, it's effective immediately, so if it passes, it'll be March 10th.
Thank you, sir.
Jerome?
Yes, Mayor, I have a public service announcement. The My Smyrna app is your direct connection to the town. You can report issues anytime, track updates, and see your feedback in action. Go to townofsmyrna.org to sign up for the app. And this is an app where you can notify of any issues around town, and it'll go directly to the department heads to get addressed. But just wanted to echo what the mayor and Mark said about the effort that the town staff and Dave, what you did, and coordination of that effort. The essential workers and the non-essential workers. It's, you know, when you sit at home in your warm house and maybe your pajamas, and these guys are out, you know, in the cold and making sure the roads are clear and salt and everything. It's I just want to say I appreciate it, and proud to live here. When you look just one county each way, how they were impacted, or towns, we are very fortunate to have the folks we do and the coordination of that effort. And third item, Charles, congratulations. Enjoyed working with you. There is life after retired engineering, okay? All right.
It's called council.
Yeah, council. But we need to talk before you think about that, okay?
Raquel?
Well, Charles, congratulations on your retirement. Thank you for how you have moved the town forward with all the developments and how you represent the town over the 6 years you've been here. thank you for that. I will also echo everybody's sentiments with regards to the weather event that we had. It was a very coordinated effort by all the departments, and I truly also appreciate all the work that was put into it. Thank you, Dave, starting at the top and all the way down, for all of the people that took care of the town of Smyrna during this event. I actually had someone stop me, a lady she's been here a couple of years, but she was from Indiana, and she wanted me to give a kudos to the town of Smyrna, the admin and all the departments. She said that she didn't expect Smyrna to have taken care of the event the way that it was, because we don't get as much snow or ice as what she had been used to. And so she was pleasantly surprised and pleased with how everything was handled and the coordinated effort that was put forth. And she asked that kudos be acknowledged to you all. So, thank you all. And I do have a slide. So the town of Smyrna is seeking residents interested in serving on various boards and committees. These volunteer positions play a vital role in shaping policies, programs, and the future of our community. So if you are passionate about making a difference, we encourage you to apply at www.townofsmyrna.org. And some of the boards and committees that we will be needing volunteers for are Sister City, Smyrna Housing Authority, Planning Commission, Historic Zoning, the BZA, Beer Board, Project Assistance, Package Liquor Board, Stormwater Advisory, Industrial Development Board, and Adjustment and Appeals Board. So if any of those interest you, please go sign up and apply. Thank you.
HG?
Okay. Once again, great pats on the back to all the town staff who did a terrific job on it, but, winter's young and y'all set the bar very high, so we have expectations now. I have a slide. Love where you live. Let's help keep Smyrna litter-free for 2026. I like to throw in, up there in the right-hand corner is the recycle emblem, so, we need to keep as little trash into the landfill as we can. And also, shop local, keep our taxes low, and also be kind. Thank y'all for listening, and thank you for watching.
Jerry?
Yeah, I've got a slide as well. The town of Smyrna is getting ready to do a road show, and basically it is for the mayor, town council, administration are excited to take town updates on the road and meet the residents right in their neighborhoods. This makes it easier for the community to stay informed, ask questions, and be a part of the conversation. Each road show is going to include a brief town overview, public safety updates, infrastructure and transportation projects, growth and development, parks and recreation, and ways the residents can stay engaged, followed by a open question and answer. The goal is simply open, transparent communications that builds trust, strengthens connections, and creates meaningful dialogue between town leadership and community. So if you can, please come out and join us. The first one is going to be on February the 12th at Stewart's Creek Middle School. The next one will be May 14th. It has not been determined where that one's going to be yet. But if you want to be able to sit and talk with us and ask questions and kind of get an update of what's going on at your pace and your questions, just join us. This is something new for us. I think we're looking forward to it, and just being able to sit down and meet with those that want to be a part of it. So please come out. As everybody else has already said, I as well echo what was done over the past weekend or so. I have not ever seen a coordinated effort like I saw this past weekend. And I know they showed pictures of all of those that were out there doing that. I know a lot of you in here spent a lot of time and effort and away from your home make it happen. Parks Department helping other departments, and the road group, and all of you, fire, police. Somebody sent me a text and said, and they had heard it, I guess, on the scanner, and they said that, I think it was Andy Miller calling in to somebody saying, hey, we got a vehicle here that's got, having a little bit of problem, broken down in front of Jerry Short's house. I didn't even know it was out there. When I went and looked, it was gone. So
Was it your vehicle?
It wasn't, mine were in the garage where they needed to be and where I needed to be. Dave, I had to go back and look. I thought when, the way this was handled, I went back and looked, I thought, did we hire Dave from up north or down south? And looked like you knew what you were doing with some stuff that and weather that you're not used to being a part of. So I know you were kind of heading this thing up, and I appreciate what you did. And I know you had a lot of help. So, but I appreciate it. Charles, buddy, thank you for what you've done. It's been fun working with you. I know we'll see you in the neighborhood, and just enjoy retirement. And again, thanks for what you've done. Okay, that's all I got, Mayor.
So the bad thing about going fifth or sixth is you say everything everybody else already said, right? But Charles, thank you, appreciate it. I am envious that you're getting to retire. I would like to be doing the same. So congratulations, enjoy your freedom. That's what I call it, freedom. So enjoy. Dave, I called you a couple times during the event, sent you some texts. I think I've kind of already told you what I thought about how well you've handled things and how well it went. But I agree with what Mark and Jerry said specifically. None of our previous events have been as well coordinated and as well as communicated as this one was. There was never any question in my mind about what we were doing or what our employees were working on and how we were responding. You kept us very well informed, very well up to date, and of course coordinated those efforts. I drive to Franklin for work, went 3 days this week, and it's easy to, or not so easy to compare one town to another and say, Smyrna did better than Murfreesboro, whatever. But what I can tell you is the second you cross the county line on Rock Springs Road and Rocky Fork, it's a marked difference. There were still roads this afternoon down to one lane with trees laying across them just over the county line in Williamson County. And so that, you can't argue they got more ice that just 100 feet away, right? So it shows the work that we did and the work that you guys did to keep the roads cleared and opened and minimize the impact. And I really appreciate it. I think our citizens noticed it. There wasn't a lot of negative comments. That's usually how we gauge success, right? We don't get the good ones, we only don't get the bad ones. So there wasn't a lot of negative comments, so that must have been everybody's happy. So thanks a lot, I appreciate it. I do have a slide, the Jeff Coos Memorial Run this year. This one's a little special. This one is going to be on September 11th, 2026, which is the 25th anniversary of 9/11. We're going to do it on, where am I at? 7th Annual Top Gun Run, Captain Coos USMC Memorial, September 11th at Lee Victory Park. All proceeds support the continued care of the memorial. That's one thing that I think we're all proud of, is that memorial has never cost any taxpayer dollars from the very beginning. The design, the build, and the maintenance has all been funded and cared for by sponsors, donations, and mostly this run. So we obviously want you to continue to help support that memorial and help keep that going. If you want more information, you can register and learn more about it at townofsmyrna.org.
And I will tell you, we have some really, really good stuff planned this year. I know I said that last year, but I'm telling you.
This is the current logo, right? The new one?
Yes.
Yep. And I know last year, every year we kind of hit right at that limit of how many are we going to expect this year? Do we have a number that we're?
We sold out last year. Actually went over our target. We ended up registering 821 last year, I believe. And I think we said we were going to go to, 750? So
We have a hard time saying no when people want to get involved, but
Yeah, I just know that there's some things that we are limited, like it's obviously a timed and chipped event, and there's only so many of those that we can, we can't really turn that up on a dime, right? It
Right.
takes some coordination. So there are some limits, and so that's why it's always best to go sign up early, and then you won't have to worry about it.
And when the mayor says more than one really's, it's gonna be special.
Yeah.
it's something that we
Yeah.
did not ever think we would be able to make happen. So
When she says really, really, it's a really.
that's
really.
right. That's right.
And you know, a lot of the contributors to this are companies and developers and private funders and all. It's a spectrum of people who have bought into the community and given a lot of money initially. I can remember one visit that the mayor and I actually went to with an ask. You remember that? And when we got done, we thought the number would be less than it turned out to be. That's how invested these people were in making this happen. They were all bought into the idea that we had a tragedy, one of our Blue Angel family members, and they stepped up.
I think we've seen that many times, everybody from, the companies you would expect, like Old South and Nissan, and the large companies, all the way down to the smallest mom and pop companies that maybe don't generally contribute a lot of money to the community like that wrote checks that kind of came out of their personal money. It wasn't just a deduction, it was an actual investment, and we saw that a lot.
It's funny you say that. The one that I remember the most, the big ask was important, don't
Yes,
get me
it
wrong.
was.
But Amber and Tiffany and I were sitting under the tent on Front Street, and a little boy rode up on his bicycle. And he was so excited to pull that change out of his pocket, to put it into the bucket, to help be part of bringing the plane. And he said, "Is this going to help get the plane?" And we were like, "Yeah, that'll help get the plane." And so it was so important to him as well. And I still think to this day, you can go up there any time of day, any day of the week, and there is somebody up there in awe of that memorial and proud of what their community has done. So it's something that I think we'll continue to be proud of long after we're no longer serving, but that is still part of our community. So I would say, get signed up. You don't want, Amber, they don't want to miss
Really,
it,
really,
do
really.
they? They do not want to miss it.
Mayor?
Yes.
We did talk about the new logo for the Top Gun Night Run, but what I haven't mentioned tonight is the logo that we have in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, which is the logo that we developed for Tennessee 250. And so I shared that with you all. I think it looks fantastic, and we'll be seeing a lot more of that. Here shortly, we'll present to you what we're looking at doing in terms of activities and those sorts of things to support this tremendous once-in-a-lifetime event. But did want to point out the new logo that we've developed for this.
That's great. Marky Mark?
Yeah, I got a slide I think that'll pop up. So last week, D.R. Horton and Pottsview Development had their ribbon cutting. I was not there, but I can see that the mayor is tucked in on the far left side there, so I know you attended. I don't know if any others were there or not. I couldn't tell.
Did, and
Steve,
HG
okay.
did, and Dave did.
Well, good. So there you go. They had a good attendance on behalf of the town. Also, Viva La Fresa Bakery, that's the old donut palace down there on Lowry Street. Dave and Heather and I were there for that one. And man, there's such wonderfully nice people in there. And they've been there for a little while. This is sort of their relaunch. Their names were Josh and Jasmine. They had some food there for us to try. It was delicious. And they are so excited and glad to be part of the Smyrna community. On another note, this past week, I want to say thank you to the planning office, Kevin and Mitch, and to Christy over in Codes. I had somebody with a lot of questions about a property, and I pointed them in their direction, and they were very prompt and got back to them, and they were very appreciative. So I want to thank you guys and your offices for taking care of that for them. I want to say condolences to a good friend of mine, Leon Hawk. Leon was a mainstay real estate agent in and around this area for, gosh, I've been almost 40 years, and he was in it longer than me. So Leon was just a fun guy, always had wit and charm and a big smile, a hug, whatever you called it. But we're going to miss Leon. He was with Action Homes for umpteenth amount of years over there with Pat Lee, and Leon was a good guy. So to his family, I send my condolences to them. Last thing, I'm celebrating Sunday. Connie and I are going to be going to Spring Hill, and we're going to be celebrating my grandson's baptism, and we're excited about that. That's all I have, Mayor.
Great. Couple of slides. First of all, thank you to Leadership Middle Tennessee for asking me to come out and share about the town of Smyrna, and welcome Leadership Middle Tennessee to Smyrna. And we had great conversation. For some reason, Mayor McFarland always wants to make fun of that we're a town and not a city, and so he spoke the day before, so he made sure they asked why we are called a town and not a city, and so I made sure to inform them of that. Second is Dave and I were honored to attend the Japanese Society's New Year celebration. Got to speak there, and the Consulate General was also there. We heard there was a gentleman down there that played music, and he did an amazing job. Dave, didn't you think? He did. I thought so too. So if you ever get the chance to come out, they have it every year. It is a huge celebration. I encourage you to do that. Would like to take this opportunity to thank our state delegation. We had worked with them in January, talking about things that we were working on, that we were wanting to see done during this legislative year, and they were informing us of things. And so we started talking about TDOT projects, and they worked to get us a meeting with the governor. We had that meeting last Wednesday, thank you, and had a really good conversation with the governor about projects that we want to see moved forward. So we thank Governor Lee for taking the time to meet with us. Last but not least, one of the things that we implemented 3 years ago was our scholarship program. This was something we wanted to see done from the Top Gun night run, and we had to wait until we were financially ready to do that. And so not only do you get to have a good time in the upkeep of the memorial, but it's also contributing to a scholarship, and we give 3 $2,000 scholarships, and that is now open. It is for any student that attends a Smyrna school, or if you live inside the city limits and you homeschool, or you live inside the city limits and might attend Central or somewhere else, you are eligible. The deadline is March 13th, and that is a hard deadline, and we ask that the application be submitted in total. So that's something that we're always excited about. Myself, Kelly Goosetree, that used to be the principal at Brown's Chapel, Gary Winton from Motlow, Landy from the Blue Angels, and Janet Coos are the ones who look at the scholarships and choose which students are selected. So get your scholarships in.
I saw another graphic on that particular one, and it said, do you know a senior, a Smyrna senior, who might be doing this? And first thing that came to my mind is maybe Jerome might want to apply for that scholarship. That's the first one today, Jerome. I couldn't help it.
Just so we can clarify the record, you're older than me. Yeah, Jerry, don't get in this conversation.
Anything else? Okay, I guess if there's nothing else, then we are adjourned.
1.5 hours.